happy once again to share this platform with a very wonderful man that needs no introduction. But for maybe someone who might be watching it for the first time, I'm with the president himself, Robert Chagulanyi Ssentamu. Happy to see you, sir.
Pleasure is all mine, sir.
After so many years.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I want to start with saying thank you so much for the sacrifices you make for our country and for the motivation and inspiration to us all.
Well, I think other people should be thanked more.
Mm.
I'm only a culmination of all their efforts.
Yeah.
You know, so it's too much credit being given to me. I would rather it's given to those unsung heroes. Yeah.
That's very humble. Well, let me start with asking you about the journey of our struggle for liberation. It's been more than 40 years, almost 40 years. And to a certain extent, some people are demotivated. They think, maybe it's not going to work. They're almost on the verge of giving up. Do you think there's some areas of celebration we should look at? And do you think there's still more reason to push on? And what do we say to those people who think it's almost not going to work out?
Well, the first question should be, is it a just cause?
Yes.
And the answer is yes. And again, you ask yourself, does history show you any oppressed people anywhere in the world that have been oppressed forever? The answer is no. Then you ask, is there any such story as the rise and rise of a dictator? Never. It's the rise and fall. So that alone gives us hope. And I think hope is the most important thing that we must hold on to. It's what keeps us going through one day to another. It's absolutely been so long, painstakingly long. This struggle did not start with us. Many of us were still lost in our bliss, you know, while those that came before us saw the way and went the way and went ahead to show us the way. And now here we are. That alone, that those that started did not give up and handed over the baton to us, is reason that the struggle, is reason for us to recognize that the struggle is not a sprint, it's a marathon, and we must keep going. True, many people are disheartened, many people are frustrated, many people are demoralized, many have given up because they've seen their friends die, go to jail, tortured in the most humiliating ways. Some have run into exile, like yourself. But the struggle continues. So for me, I am hopeful. Hopeful for some few but very, very, very paramount reasons. The fact that many people are awakened, the fact that people refuse to give up. Not giving up is victory. Not giving up alone is victory. So yes, you ask me whether there's reason to celebrate. Absolutely. We are not where we want to be, Mordecai, but we are certainly not where we used to be. The fact that you and I are meeting and you're not interviewing me about my music, you're not interviewing me about business or about how to build a business empire, but you're interviewing me about the future of Uganda. That alone is a success. To see that a one Eddie Mutwe, a one Aitawa, a one Gaddafi, and all these other young men and women who used to talk about how to pickpocket, or Arsenal and Manchester United, or which boxer is the best, now they're talking about the future of Uganda and discussing parliamentary affairs. That is victory. So yes, these small victories are worth celebrating as we struggle for the big one. I've always told my comrades that we should not wait for full liberation and freedom for us to celebrate, because some of us might not even cross the finish line. But we choose to celebrate all along the way, to celebrate the fact that we're not giving up, to celebrate the fact that one day, whether we are all together or we're not all together, but one day the people of Uganda will be free. So that is reason enough to celebrate.
Amazing.
You're watching Mordecai Marissa Live.
Well, cynics have said you have to realize who you're up against. You're up against a dictator that's been in power for almost 40 years. He has everything. He owns almost all institutions in our country. He has the army. Then be like, you can't. You have to wake up from a slumber. They think that probably we're sleeping. We cannot do anything because he's got everything.
That's what Milton Obote told him. That's what Goliath told David. You know, that's what life threw to me and you when we were still in the ghetto.
Yeah.
You can't do nothing. Here we are. You know, here we are.
Yeah.
So, all the demotivating words in return motivate us. Because, like we've been told many times when we're growing up, that if your dreams don't scare you, then you're not dreaming big enough. Yeah.
If your dreams don't scare you, then you're not dreaming big enough. Yesterday when you were giving a speech, you made a very, very clear statement. You didn't miss any word. You said that as we struggle, as we express our souls, we should do it respectfully.
Yeah.
We cannot give what we don't have.
Yeah.
There's some folks who are they're not willing to calm down. They're not willing to tone down their, the frustration, their anger. I would like you to emphasize that, because those folks, our opponents, usually look at us and be like, look at your comrade. And like you said, we make you being held accountable over our mistakes because you're our leader. So what would be your message to those folks out there who think that by saying the most outrageous things will be the one probably that will bring freedom?
For clarity, Mordecai, I did not say tone down your anger.
Oh, okay.
No, be angry.
Yeah.
Very, very angry. And please go ahead and express that anger. But while you are at it, be cautious that you are a representation of all of us. We are angry, very angry. But we must not allow the anger take the best of us. We must not allow our anger take over our ability to make a case for ourselves. Or else, they might, because they want, end up dividing us by our anger. We are very angry, but we are equally hopeful. So, do we want to be defined by our anger or by our hope?
Hope.
We are just as intelligent as angry. In fact, we are angry because we are intelligent. We are able to see through the lies, through the manipulation, through the misrule. We are that intelligent. That's why we are angry. They say ignorance is bliss. If we were happy about the situation about home, we would be damn fools. So we are angry because we are intelligent. But our intelligence should allow us to put intelligence over anger. To know that they are looking for any scapegoat. They are looking for anything to misrepresent us. So, now that we have the opportunity, let us put our best foot forward. Let us define ourselves before our adversaries define us.
Fear is a weapon used by an enemy to silence, to beat down his opponents. And a few years ago when I interviewed you, I asked you a question. Where'd you get all this courage? I mean, you're up against this man and you asked me, why should I be afraid of this man? Who is he? And you were very clear, I remember, in the studios of Record Television. Now, I was inspired by young people in my country when they were marching against corruption in Uganda.
Yeah.
Some of them took it a little far. They wrote on their Twitter, they said, my name is so-and-so. I'm going to demonstrate.
Yes.
And if I die, tell my mom I've been fighting for my country.
Yes.
What's your message to a kid somewhere, a young person in Bushenyi where I was born, who is afraid to stand up against dictator Museveni because he's been told, you're nothing, you don't have anything?
Mordecai, you define me as courageous and as brave, but I think that's an overstatement. I'm not as courageous as you define me. I'm a human being. I get scared. I get worried.
Yeah.
Like anybody else. Maybe the word should be desperate. Because that's the truth. I'm just desperate that my desire for freedom is stronger than my fear. I'm smart enough to know that whether afraid or not, there's no survival if I don't stand up. I gave you an example yesterday about our brothers and sisters in Chitezi, who are estimated to be in the hundreds that have died, covered by garbage. None of those was fighting Museveni when they faced the most humiliating death. No. But what killed them is because they didn't rise to the occasion. They didn't realize that they're just as unsafe as those that speak out. In fact, more unsafe. So, like I've shared it before, that it is dangerous to speak out against bad governance in Uganda, but it's even more dangerous to keep quiet about it, because you'll die without even having the honor of putting up a fight, you know. Dying in such a way you don't even go to heaven. I think. I don't want to I don't want to claim that I know so much about heaven.
Yeah.
But I believe that every human being with dignity must put up a fight against anything that dehumanizes them. So it's not bravery. It's running out of options. What do I say to the young people out there? Man, those young people challenge me. They challenge me.
Oh.
I honor them. I respect them. Those young people, many of them have the privilege to be coming from what some Ugandans define as the privileged tribes. But they put all that aside. They are tribeless. Some of them are privileged to come from good families. Their parents are not broke. They have school fees. They've been able to go through school. But they see the kind of country they are living in and they say, no man, this is not what we are educated for. So they rise to the occasion and speak out. Young people that are not even seeking political office, because very unfortunately, in many ways, the people that tend to come up to represent people, majority of them tend to be eyeing political office. And that seems to be their motivation. But these young people, looking at what motivates them, just wanting a better, corruption-free country, I salute them. Those young artists that speak out, knowing that it's risky for an artist to speak out. They speak out. They challenge us, their seniors, to speak out even more. I have nothing but respect for them and encourage them that what they're doing is moral and they will never regret it, and they're standing on the right side of history. And when 10, 20 years from now, when we're recollecting the history of Uganda and the struggles for freedom and liberty and democracy, their older selves or their children will be proud to carry their names. Because history is being written in real time, in color and in motion picture, unlike in the past. So I salute you guys, and you're doing the right thing. You're not wrong at all.
Yeah, well, it's obvious, everyone knows that you won the 2021 election, and we're headed for 2026 election. Cynics again and optimists have always come out to say, if you won the 2021 election and it's going back to 2026 elections, isn't that a wastage of time? And according to sources, the National Unity Platform will participate in the 2021 election. Should we participate in this election?
My advice to any leader whose only resource is the people is that engage in every event that involves the people. How you engage in it is a different story, but engage in them. You clearly know that if Museveni has no competition, he's intending to bring another Katumba or another. He has a lot of stooges that he uses. So we hesitate to leave the people of Uganda in space. But also, we must know that an election alone is not the answer. If you are planning to just go into an election and get elected, unless if you just want to become a councillor, MOP, mayor, etc. But if we are to tilt the entire political landscape, then we have to aim for the man that has made himself God. An election alone is not enough. We have to do much, much more than just an election. You know, organize, mobilize, agitate, and then take action. What kind of action? I'll say the necessary. Yeah.
Well, as we get to an end of our interview, now that you talk about an election, let's look at the opposition. There's some sort of bickering that is never ending, very unending.
What opposition?
I'm referring to the political parties.
No, that's I don't agree with that. I don't subscribe to that.
Yeah.
First, we don't look at ourselves as the opposition, because we are not. We won the election. We are the option. But also, putting just words aside, those are just words being thrown around. Government, opposition. We don't have a government. We have a gang of thieves. We have a cabal that is plundering our country for as long as they can. We don't have a government. We don't have a political party called NRM. That's just a gang of thieves. What political party rules a nation for 40 years and does not even have one property that belongs to that political party? Where is their headquarters?
They don't have, yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
How do they make their decisions? No, this is a family thing. Museveni, his wife, his brother, his son, his son-in-law, his daughters, etc. It's just a cabal. And of course, a few hangers-on that are benefiting from this plunder. Equally, we don't have what one would call an opposition. No, we just have forces of change. And forces of change are not necessarily the so-called political parties. No. Forces of change doesn't necessarily mean the so-called opposition political parties. No. Because some of them are just masquerading as people fighting the regime. But many people in the opposition, you know, are not many opposition politicians are not intending to put an end to the Museveni dictatorship. No. They are only trying to elevate their status in that dictatorship. And, you know, for as long as it benefits them, for as long as it sustains them, they won't want the situation to change. They don't want to disorganize things, you know. Many have said it some time ago that many leaders in the opposition are only concerned about their position. And they will fight any composition that threatens their position. And that is true. So for us, we like to look at it as forces of change. And these forces of change, yes, some of them are in the so-called opposition parties. But some of them are even within the regime. There are so many people in the regime, in the police, in the military, in the parliament that are closely working with the forces of change to free themselves. They are slaves within the system. How else do you think we survive police plots? You know how many times they've tried to assassinate me. How do you think I survive? How do you think I know the things inside the police or military? How do you think we know those corruption scandals that are so guarded secretly? But how do you think we know them? How do you think we know everything that Anita Among does? Because there are many people, even within the regime. That's why I constantly encourage our comrades to be beckoning, to be inviting, to make us look attractive, even to people within the regime, so that they can work with us more confidently, knowing that we are not out to kill them or to exterminate them as soon as Museveni falls. We just want to build a better country. We know that some people are serving in the police and doing these things, only taking orders. In private, they tell us, they say, man, fight for us. So we're fighting for them as well. And yes, there's so many people. You'll find them dressed like myself in a beret. You'll find them dressed in other political party colors, but working for the regime. So we shouldn't just say, oh, opposition, government. No. Uganda is divided only in two sides, the oppressors and the oppressed, the eaters and the eaten. You understand?
Yeah. Well, you're flying back to Uganda a few days from now. Actually, alluding to what you said, I think you made a very, very deep statement. You said, we have a political party, but we're not a political
Absolutely.
party. And that was very deep. You're flying back to Uganda a few days from now. I've seen comments on, of people who be like, are you going to change the government of Uganda from Chicago? Are you going to change it from Canada? Do these people realize the importance of these conventions? I mean, when I saw the full house of Ugandans who are yearning for change, celebrating and all attentive, listening to how best can we bring about change in our country, I'm like, do these people realize what they're trying to even downplay?
You see, those who don't learn from history are doomed to repeat it. And one man in Uganda some time ago said that history doesn't repeat itself, it's fools that repeat history. So, I'll tell you that those people that try to downplay our international engagements, it's not because that they know that, it's not because that they don't work, but because they know how effective they are. You know, the Ugandans say, "Anakugoba konswa nditoli omulalo."
Yeah.
They are trying as much as possible to, to discourage us from what is actually effective. I'll tell you that historically, most of the struggles that have brought down dictators have had to work from within and from without. Yes, we're not going to bring down the dictatorship from Chicago or from London or from where, but we're going to weaken it from there. And because of time, I'll ask you to ask the rest of that question to Anita Amolo.
All right.
And you understand.
Oh, I know.
Yeah.
Anyways, congratulations, Council.
Thank you, my brother.
Yeah, that's a wonderful time with President Robert Chagulanyi Ssentamu, the president or the principal of the National Unity Platform. It's always a pleasure having you, and I promise, this is a promise to you, I'll continue using my platform to advance the cause, the ultimate cause.
Thank you very much, Mordecai. I must salute you for communicating, even when angry, for communicating in a moral way, in a convincing way, for giving a positive image. We need that so much. Young people like yourselves, we need to present ourselves as worthy and able of leadership. Back then, it is young men and women of 20s, 30s, and thereabout that changed their countries. So nobody is too young to do what's right. And again, nobody is too young. Nobody is young enough to justify doing wrong. I want to encourage all our comrades to come out, use their platforms to say the right thing. You're not doing this for me, you're doing this for you and your people and your nation. And if we all do this, we can save our country. We had to come together like this to defeat HIV/AIDS. Yes, we've not completely annihilated it, but we're on the way. It is when we come together as a generation to change our destiny. Morality is on our side, the law is on our side, history is on our side, and God is on our side. It's only us that have to be on our side, firmly, and we shall win. So I salute you, I salute all people out there, go right ahead and use your platforms and own it up. Speak with authority because you are a Ugandan. You have a stake in this country. This is your home. So don't undermine yourself. Don't downplay yourself. Be confident. I can only tell you this with no fear of contradiction. That we shall win.
We shall.
We, the people of Uganda, shall win, and we shall be free, and never again shall we be defined by our tribes or by our religions, but by the fact that we are a nation that came together 62 years ago in 1962 to build a country that would make life better for the future generation. What future generation was being envisioned? You and me, and our children and our grandchildren. That is a dream that was dreamed by our forefathers and mothers. That's a dream that must be fulfilled by us, by the grace of God. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. This is Mordecai Murisa TV. You know, when I left mainstream media, I decided... Nakula that TV. TV Mordecai Murisa.
Very glad to be here on Mordecai Murisa TV. Omanyi jaja wange mrodokai.
Okakasa.
Kati jaja wange so. Kola mani mugomvu nyose.
Chitegedde.
Teweekyawa nga tuli n'ebibyo genda mu bannaffe abamugga World Properties abasangibwa ekitala opposite Lake Oil Komamboga Road. Bano nga bagula n'okutunda ebintu ebikadde saako n'ebipya. Olina byokooyi oba byoyagala okugula jangu mu Mugga World Properties oddiyo n'akamwenyumwenyu mu matama. Tugula ettaka ku buli luguudo olufuluma ekibuga Kampala era tutunda mu bitundu bya Uganda byonna. Tugula n'okutunda amayumba agawedde okuzimba. Olina nnyumba z'abapangisa z'otunda oba z'oyagala okukusololeza byonna tubikolako. Tukola n'obusaveya bakubbako ettaka jangu tukuyambe. Ku Mugga World Properties tukuyambako mu bintu by'okuzimba. Tusangibwa kitala opposite Lake Oil Komamboga Road. Tukubireko tuli ku noti 758431277 ne noti 39289 noti 3 ku Mugga World Properties bw'otwesiga naffe tukwesiga. Ulira obuwoomi munna Uganda kankwanjulire Pizza Origin bano nga be bakafulu abakozi ba pizza eri ku kyaddala. Anti mwatu kye kituyisa Pizza Origin. Funa pizza erimu ebirungo by'otajja kusanga walala. Olina birthday party, baby shower, graduation party, wedding meetings oba oyagala kusanyusa abafamire yo. Weyunire Pizza Origin tusangibwa ku Jinja Road, Plot 10 opposite Nema House. Mwana wattu tukola ne delivery ate mu kaseera akatono ddala. Yitiraho kati oba tukubireko. Tuli ku noti 7 noti 8 7 8 54 ne noti 7 6 7 Pizza Origin tulya kyaddala.
Gwe omuzadde eyetaze essomero erigenda okubangulira omwana wo nga muyeeya mukozi ate ayite ne first grade katukwanjulire Shehan Standard Day and Boarding Primary School abagenda okuteeka ebyensoma by'omwana wo ku mutendera ogusingira ddala. Empisa, eddiini, ebyemizannyo n'obuyiiya bwonna tubikulembereza ddala ng'ate ebyokulya n'ebyensula bya mulembe ddala. Tulina n'entambula eri abayizi abaviira ewala. Gwe ate omuzadde eyandiyagadde omwana wo okuyita ne first grade totunula obulala wonna okwewandiisa kugendera ddala maaso okuva ku nursery paka ku kibiina ekyomusanvu. Day ne boarding ng'ate n'ebisale birungi ate bisobokera ddala. Jjukira nti requirements zonna omwana wo azisanga ku ssomero. Tusangibwa Lubaga mu Bulwa zone okuliraana 24/7 motel. Gwe ayagala okumanya ebisingawo tukubire ku noti 773 73 359 ne noti 757 noti 6 26 96. Shehan Standard Primary School. We invest in education.